Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Imperfect Marketing. I'm your host, Kendra Corman, and today I'm really excited to be joined by my friend, Tracy Beavers. She is the CEO and founder of Tracy Beavers Coaching. She has a proven track record in marketing, sales, and business growth with an award-winning career spanning 20 years and multi-six-figure business. She has helped hundreds of entrepreneurs with everything from overcoming the fear of sales to growing their business visibility through organic marketing strategies, which is always good because who doesn't love free? And she's been honored nationally by Vanity Fair Lingerie as a support award winner for women in entrepreneurship. Very cool. She's a public speaker, published author. She's been featured on top business podcasts and has been a regular contributor on one of her hometowns premiere TV shows. Very cool. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do want to highlight that she is the creator of two online programs, Business Visibility Made Easy and Be a Confident Entrepreneur, as well as her new popular business podcast, Create Online Business Success. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kendra. It's always fun to be with you.
I love having conversations with you because, well, we're very aligned and can always build off each other. And today I'm excited because we're going to be talking about beyond likes.
Yes.
I just got off a phone call with somebody yesterday when we're recording this, and she wants someone to help manage her social media. She's 100% referral business right now, and she hates social media.
I hear that a lot.
I'm like, yeah, me too. But
yeah.
But the thing is that she's like, well, I need to be on social media, and I'm like, well, you need to have a presence, but let's talk about what you're trying to accomplish with social media, right?
Right.
And so one of the things that I like is that you talk about going beyond the likes. So talk to me a little bit about what beyond the likes means for you.
Beyond the likes for me, specifically, my platform of choice is Facebook. It's my jam. It's where I'm most comfortable. And for me, it is because social media is frustrating. I mean, let's just face it. It feels like all we see is everybody's highlight reel. And half the time, you just, I don't know. It's like, I want to know the backstory on that. I want to know if, behind that family photo, everybody was fighting right before the photographer clicked the shutter. And you just kind of just want to know the backstory on stuff. So beyond the likes for me means I have to set aside whether somebody liked, hearted, or commented on my post. And I have to remember that Facebook is a massive marketing tool for my business. Love it or hate it, it is not going anywhere for a while. And it is a marketing tool. And one of my one-to-one clients was really struggling with this same thing also, because she told me the same thing. She's like, I hate social media. I don't want to be on the platform. I feel like I have to be on it 24/7. I feel like I'm just exposing every ounce of my soul on social media. And then about a week or so later, she said, I think I finally understand what you're trying to teach me, that I have to set aside my feelings about it because it is a way for me to market my business and grow my business. And I was like, that's exactly right. So we have to look past the likes, the hearts, the comments, the highlight reels, and understand that these platforms are free and can get us a ton of visibility and audience growth when you are on them the right way. And you know this, the right marketing messaging. That's so important. So yeah, beyond the likes, you got to just get past whether or not somebody liked it or hearted it or commented or whatever.
So let's talk about being on it the right way. Yeah. So you mentioned messaging.
Yes.
So if you're posting on a business page, you're like 3.3% or something of your audience is seeing it on a regular basis.
Right.
How do you recommend people post when their organic reach is so low?
Yeah, so it's more than just posting, especially on Facebook. There are lots of hidden gems on the platform that we can use for visibility and list growth. So with regard to the content itself is important. The right marketing messaging is important. The mistake that I see a lot of course creators and coaches make when they tell me that their email lists aren't growing or that they're growing really slowly, I go and look at their social media, their content, and a lot of times it's sporadic at best. There's no calls to action that lead to list growth. So, first of all, they're not consistently visible using all of the formats that the platform gives us. Again, talking about Facebook, go live, do a reel, do a story, do a static post. And then with the right messaging that makes their ideal client, when they do see their content, stop and say, this person is for me. And then they're not using those calls to action that lead to list growth. So what I teach my clients and students is that all roads lead to list building. Every action you take in your business every day has to work to grow your list, and the social media content has to be doing that for us. And so, when I have a client that says, well, I'm exhausted from creating content, I always ask them, well, how much content are you creating? And a lot of times they're trying to come out of the gate with 7 days a week worth of content. And it is really hard to be consistent if you come right out of the gate with 7 days worth of stuff week in, week out. And so one of the things that I suggest people do is decide what platform you want to be on, go all in on it, master it, get it to convert, but decide what you have the bandwidth for in terms of content. And so if somebody only has the bandwidth to create 3 posts a week, that's great. Do that, start there, but keep that cadence going consistently, week in, week out. Because the worst thing in the world to do is to create 7 days a week worth of stuff, exhaust yourself, take a break, come back 2 weeks later, do another 7 days a week worth of stuff, exhaust yourself, take a break. No, you've got to be consistent with your content, and having that consistency is going to show the platform. It's going to get the benefit of the algorithm, and you stand a better chance of your audience actually seeing what you're doing.
So I love that. And I think that there's a really strong message in there. Do not sign up for what's going to burn you out.
Yeah.
Sign up, pick one platform to start.
Right.
That's another key, right?
Right.
So many people think that they have to be on all the platforms, and they go to networking events and different things, and they're like, well, I heard this person had success over here, and so I'm going to go. It's like, chill. Like, you can have success where you're at, right? Because I mean, just talking about Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, those platforms are humongous.
Yes, they
Which
are.
one's your favorite?
Right.
Which one do you like to interact on? Odds are, out of the like billion of people that are on it, like, your target is there on all 3 of them, right? Just
correct.
maybe
Yes.
different groups of them, maybe the same ones, but odds are they're on there.
Correct. Yeah.
And so do what's going to be sustainable. And I think what's sustainable at the beginning isn't sustainable as you go. So whatever you think it is, cut it back. At least that's my perspective.
Right. No, that's very important. I like the way you phrased that. The only reason why you'll see me on Instagram and LinkedIn with the engagement and the audience I have now is because I have an assistant. Before I hired Jill 3 years ago, I was only on Facebook. Now, I take that back. I had an Instagram profile. I think I threw some content up there randomly every now and then just to have something in the feed. And then LinkedIn, I had a profile and I would throw stuff at it over there too, but it wasn't intentional. It wasn't consistent. It was kind of a mess. So, yeah, no, I totally agree. Don't burn yourself out.
So one of the things that I love about you is your engagement. So again, when you're talking about going all in, you're not just saying it, you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
And like, again, I feel like I know you, or I knew you in the beginning, and you reached out and you messaged me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, do you sleep? And it felt like, it feels really natural, authentic.
Thanks.
And I love how you do that. So if somebody is looking to try and do that, it doesn't come off douchey or salesy, or I don't even think there was a sales message in any of them.
No.
So talk to me a little bit about that for the people that are uncomfortable with interacting people through DMs and really engaging and struggling to define what that is.
That's a really good question. And thank you for that. That's very kind. I am naturally an extrovert. I could talk to a brick wall. I get that comment a lot like, do you ever sleep? Are you on the platform 24/7? And to me, it's a compliment because I am not on the platform 24/7. I do sleep very well. I do interact with my family. I'm not, constantly on my phone. But because of the systems and processes I have in place, it appears that I am. And it's very strategic on my part when I'm going to spend time on the platform and when I'm not. And so so hear me, people, you do not have to spend 24/7 on this platform to get the favor of the algorithm or the appearance that you are on there a lot. And so when I say favor of the algorithm, we have to remember that these platforms, they have things they want you to do. And if you play Facebook's game and utilize their tools and actually engage with other people on the platform, you'll be rewarded with more reach than you are otherwise. I have times when I will wake up to, I'm not kidding, 30 or more friend requests. And I'm like, what in the world has happened? It's the favor of the algorithm. Because I ask people, thanks so much for friending me. How did you find me? Facebook suggested you. Same thing goes with my Facebook group, my free Facebook group. A lot of times I'll say to somebody, welcome to my group. And I, tell them what they need to know about the group. And then I'll say, how did you find me? How'd you find the group? Facebook suggested it. And it's because I am very intentional with the time I do spend on the platform that I get the favor of the algorithm. And what I mean by that is it is a social media platform. So love it or hate it, we do have to take not a ton of time, but we do have to take time each day to be social. And so you can't just post and run and hope for the best. You do need to post. You need to like, heart, comment on other people's posts in order to get more reach, in order to get more favor from the platform. And the same thing goes with Facebook groups that I'm in. I'm a master networker. I always have been. I think it's because I am a talker. But I love building relationships with people. I love connecting with people, hearing their stories, and seeing how I can help them, whether it's with working with me one-to-one or joining my group coaching program, or I can help them by connecting them with somebody awesome like Kendra Corman, who has an amazing podcast, and you should ask her to be a guest on it. I mean, that connection doesn't make me any money on the face of it, but it's good karma, and it will always come back to me. And that's what I learned in my sales career, being in corporate for over 20 years in sales and business development, was the connection and the relationship as a human being has to come first. Then I want to find out, how can I help this person? If it is with something that I sell, awesome. If it's not, that's okay. I'm going to do my best to help that person, because that person would eventually could be my client. They could eventually be one of my best referral sources just because they appreciate what I did for them. And so when we're wanting to have interactions on the platform and in the DMs, we just have to be a human being talking to another human being. It doesn't need to be anything weird, or open up the conversation like you've met them in a coffee shop, and that you and I are sitting across from each other in a coffee shop. What would you say? You'd say, hey, nice to meet you. Tell me about your business. And then we would find some common ground. And then we would know whether or not we could be collaboration partners or referral sources or clients of each other. So it all just starts with remembering that, yes, it's a social media platform. Yes, there's a lot of profiles on there. And it doesn't feel very human to human, but it is. At the end of the day, there is another human being at the end of that personal profile that has the same hopes and dreams that you do. And if you remember that, it makes having that conversation so much easier.
And I think so. A couple things I want to pull out of there. One is that it's people.
Yes.
You're having a conversation with a person.
Yes.
Yes, it's over a computer through a keyboard, which sometimes makes it easier, but a lot of times for a lot of people, it makes it more difficult.
Yes.
But you got to close your eyes, maybe take a deep breath and write to them like you were just chatting with them. Because that's what it's about, is chatting, right?
Correct. Exactly.
And then the other thing is work to put the person first.
Yes.
I was reading who, not how. And I'm trying to remember the quote that was in there. I actually have it like bookmarked, folded over.
Mhm.
But they were talking about always go into every conversation with a new contact, or don't look for something to come out of a relationship until
Correct.
you've given value first. And
Correct.
that's like the really key takeaway. So I'll have
Yes.
to link to the quote in the show notes. That's my mental note for that. But
Right.
it was very powerful,
Mhm.
because if you go in looking, how can I help this person,
Yes.
not how I can help me, I
Correct.
think that you go a lot further.
Absolutely. The relationship and the connection just happens, and it happens authentically and genuinely, and that's what people want. So a couple of things. I love what you said about people get stumped because it is virtual. It is behind a keyboard. It doesn't feel, it's not the same, doesn't have the same feeling as sitting across from me in a coffee shop. So what I tell my clients and students is the conversation is the same. It's the location of the conversation that has changed. And it's the location change that makes your brain thinks it has to be different in some way. But it doesn't. It's the very same conversation. It just happens to happen in the DMs or in the comments of the group or the profile that you're on. And the other thing that I love that you said is also what I've always done in sales, and what's made me successful is I forget about the transaction. Just take the transaction out of your mind. Focus, just like you said, focus on that other person, having a conversation. Where are you from? Are you married? Not married? Kids? No kids? Have you lived here a long time? Where'd you go to school? I mean, here in the South, it's easy because that's how we're wired. We're like, how's your mama? How's your dog? How's your business going? We're all up in your business here in the South. So it's easy to have conversations with us. But I understand. I have some introverted students that are like, I don't normally talk to people when I go to social gatherings, and I don't think I know what to say. And I know it can be difficult for some people, but if you're looking for a great way to open up a conversation, ask the other person about them, ask them questions about them. People love to talk about themselves, and it will get the conversation flowing in a way that you could probably take it from there.
People like to talk about themselves,
They
and people
do.
like to help other people.
Yes.
So ask for help. Just try
Yes.
say, hey, I'm not really good at this DM thing.
Right. This
So
feels weird. It feels, I realize I'm sending you this DM. I feel like, I feel like a spammy weirdo. I hope I'm not coming across that way, and then use a laughing emoji. Um, yeah, people like
people love that.
authenticity and real. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you need help with something like, one of the things I've been asking in the DMs lately is, hey, do you do coffee chats? If you do, I'd love to hop on a coffee chat with you just to find out, how we can help each other in our businesses. And the other thing I've been asking is, I'm wanting to do a lot more networking. Are you doing networking? What groups have you joined? Like what's been good for you? And people are so like, oh yeah, I went to this group and that group, and I'll send you the link and da 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 da. And before you know it, you've made a new best friend, and it all happened in the DMs. You didn't even have to leave your house or put clothes on. How good is that?
I know. I count a successful week based on how many times I have to put on real pants.
And makeup.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I have too many Zoom meetings, so makeup's almost every day. I'd say it's very rare that I have like more than 2 no makeup days. And
Yeah.
that's the weekend.
Yeah.
Um, but the pants thing is real.
Well, and at least we
Um,
don't have to fix the back of our hair. We really just have to fix like from here. Keep it all on Zoom right here. Don't look at the back.
exactly. Well, I've gotten really lazy. So I made this with my
I love
Cricut,
it.
my Imperfect Marketing t-shirt, because I got tired of trying to balance all the switches, because I batch my recordings
Yeah.
and I record several episodes in one day.
Yeah.
And so I was recording all of these episodes in batches. And then I was like changing sweaters and changing jewelry. And I'm like, yeah, we're done.
This is
I'm going
exhausting.
to just do this. I'm like, all right, 250 episodes. So we're just going to call it quits and
Right.
change.
No, I love the t-shirt. I think that's awesome.
So, all right. So one of the things that you talked about was list growth.
Yes.
And if this is your first episode of Imperfect Marketing, you don't know what we're talking about. But if you've been around for more than like, I don't know, 3
5
episodes,
minutes.
you know I'm a huge fan of list growth. The point of
Yes.
social media to me is to get people's email addresses,
Correct.
because you don't own the platforms. They can go down. Yeah, they are amazing tools,
Yeah.
but they're not the end all be all.
No.
Your email list is. So let's talk a little bit about what you were saying with growing your list,
Mm.
um, having calls to actions in your posts.
Mhm.
How do you go about doing that?
So what I do is and I tell my clients and students to do this with their content. I want them to make a list of their calls to action. Anything they offer that leads to list growth, from your free offers, your free lead magnets, to your mini offers, your low ticket, to your high ticket, to book a free info call, to join my free Facebook group, to here's my new blog post. Now, if your blog is set up for list growth, or hey, here's my latest podcast episode. Again, if your podcast and the show notes are set up for list growth, if they're not, that's not a good call to action. But by listing all of those, you can easily see what you can rotate throughout. So I think my clients and students, they forget. They'll say to me, oh my gosh, I've got 2 other lead magnets I completely forgot about. Or this one client, bless her heart, she goes, oh my gosh, I forgot I wrote a book and it's 7 chapters long. And I'm like, can I buy it? She goes, yeah. And I went, why is that not a call to action? I mean, so make a list, because if it's on that list and you're stumped for what to put on your content, just go look at your list. Whatever you're posting, how does it correspond to something on that list? So, for example, if I'm talking about the importance of being in a community of like-minded people, a community of collaboration and support, then the call to action with that is come join my free Facebook group, and here's why you should be in it. If I am talking about how creating social media content can feel enormous, and it's really hard to stare at the blank computer screen, try to come up with something. Thank goodness we have AI tools now. But when I started in this business, I think there were probably AI tools around, but I didn't know what they were. And I certainly didn't use them. And so that I was staring at the blank computer screen. And so that call to action, my free lead magnet of social media content made easy, that would be a great call to action. So in your content, you want to think about now, having said that, you do want to sprinkle in some engagement calls to action, where like I might do a quote graphic, like I might quote Mel Robbins or James Wedmore or something. And then I talk about the quote in the copy. And then at the bottom, the call to action is, tell me how this resonated with you. Did this hit you smack between the eyes like it did me? And then people are commenting, and that's engagement. And that is a call to action. But for the most part, I'm focused on list growth. And so in that social media content, it's really important to remember all roads lead to list building. When you go live on the platform, which I highly recommend, the algorithm loves it when we go live. I mean, it's just like, it can't wait. It's so excited. You want to have a call to action of whether it's if you're loving this content, come join my free Facebook group. Or, we've been talking about social media content creation. If it feels enormous to you, go to tracybeavers.com/social and grab that free training or whatever. But don't forget to have a call to action even on your live stuff. It's just super important to always tell people how to take the next step with you. I mean, they're sitting right there, they're looking at your post or they're watching your live. Tell them what to do next that lands on your email list. And then, some other things on Facebook that are completely overlooked. Hopefully not, because I feel like I've been talking about these things for 2 to 3 years now, and I feel like a broken record. But your Facebook personal profile is an email list growth funnel for you when you set it up the right way. Your Facebook business page is an email list growth funnel for you when you set it up the right way. Having your own free Facebook group is an awesome lead magnet. My free group is the biggest source of my list growth and the biggest source of my sales conversions by far. And so when you set things up that way, list building and visibility begin to run in the background of your business. People ask me, well, how much time do you spend on list growth every week? Tell me, and I'm like, I don't think about it, because everything I'm doing leads to list growth. What I'm focused on is the daily activity and the consistency of it. But a lot of these things are set it and forget it, and they're running in the background and they're doing the work for me. The Facebook personal profile is a prime example of that, because when I'm networking in other people's Facebook groups, I don't have to sell anything. I don't even have to use a call to action, because a lot of these groups don't allow you to do that. They really want you to just give value. You're not allowed to promote. And so I might make a value post And somebody may love that, or I might comment on somebody else's post, or if somebody asks for feedback on something and I can help, I'm going to be of value. I'm going to be of service, like we're talking about, serve first. But because I'm visible in that group, people will click on my Facebook personal profile. And because of the way I have that set up for list growth, they will slide right down onto my email list. And I haven't had to ask them to do that. And I haven't had to say anything or sell anything. It just happens.
And I think that that's so important. You can sell without selling by
Correct.
adding value because people are going to be curious and want to take that next step.
Yes.
This has been amazing. I just looked at the time. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, we've been talking because I've got like 17 more questions that I can build off of on that. And I think that this is really important. So this is coming out October 3rd. So today is October 3rd if you are a loyal subscriber and listening and watching when it's live. But if it is, if you are listening before October 8th, correct?
Correct.
2024, you definitely want to head on over to tracybeavers.com/masterclass. If you want more of this information, Tracy adds so much value. I attend her master classes and jump in on them. They are very tactical,
Thank you.
very, very full of stuff that you can just leave that master class with, and actions you can take immediately to make sure that all roads are truly leading to list growth through
Yeah.
your sales or social media profiles.
Yeah.
So I think that that's really important and really helpful.
Thanks.
Anything else you want to add about the masterclass and what's coming up?
So I do work very hard to actually teach people things in the masterclass. I'm not a fluff person. Nothing annoys me more than going to spend an hour with somebody and I don't actually learn anything. So my guarantee, if you will, is just come learn. Come learn 3 to 4 new strategies that you haven't probably thought about before. Maybe you have, or maybe they're not working as well for you as they could be. And then, I am going to talk about my 8-week group coaching program. I use the masterclass to launch that. But even if it is not the right time for you to join a program, even if all you do is come join the free live masterclass, do that, learn some stuff, and then go and implement it. That would make my heart so happy.
Yes. No, and I definitely think it's definitely worth your time. Again, like I said, I've attended multiple. My calendar is pretty packed. I still find the time to attend these because again, even if there's things that you know
Mm-hmm.
or have thought of before,
Mm-hmm.
trust me, you forgot and there's a hole in there somewhere. And you're like, my personal bio on Facebook links to a broken link.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
mine may have done. Um when I attended the last
Funny.
one. So again, it happens. It's all good, and that's what we're trying to help you with as you work to, because we all make the mistakes, right? And
Oh my
so
gosh. Yeah.
again, I recommend checking it out. Again, tracybeavers.com/masterclass. We'll have links to it in the show notes with the dates also. Um, and then before I let you go, Tracy, because I ask this question to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
this show is called Imperfect Marketing because
Mm-hmm.
marketing is anything but a perfect science.
I know. I wish
What
it
has
was.
been your biggest marketing lesson learned?
The biggest thing is consistency and patience. And patience is not one of my strong suits. But when I see somebody post and they say, and they're asking for help and they say, okay, I've been on Instagram for 3 weeks, doing reels every day, being consistent, nothing's happening. And I'm like, that's not enough consistency and there's no patience. Social media is a long organic strategy. There is going to be a tipping point where your business will blow wide open for sure. But until that point, you gotta be like on Survivor Island, outwit, outlast, outplay, be consistent. But then you gotta be patient. You can't try something and then throw the baby out with the bathwater and try something else.
So I usually recommend people try something for 90 days. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you know it's totally and completely not working,
Correct.
okay, you can adjust.
Right.
But for the most part, I
Yep.
say 90 days. What's your threshold?
I do at minimum of 90 days. I think actually I tell my clients and students 90 to 120. If you can hang in there for 6 months, that's even better. It just takes a while. It does. And you've got to have the right marketing messaging. And I wish it was a science, but it's not.
It's definitely not. Thank you so much for joining me today, Tracy. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time. We'll have links of ways to connect with Tracy's free Facebook group, the Masterclass, and of course, her new podcast so that you can check out all of the things. If you are looking to grow your business, social media is a great way to get that exposure. So thanks so much for tuning in today. I appreciate it. If you learned something today, and hopefully you did, I'd love it if you could rate and subscribe wherever you're listening. Until next time, have a great rest of your day.